Hello, Sivat39. Well, I have the pleasure of doing another Madonna fan screening review video. Um, I just saw tonight, Tuesday night, in bed with Madonna, Truth or Dare, at Victoria Gardens in Victoria, set up by DJ Ray Isaac. But fortunately, on the Sunday before this, and I didn't do the review because of all the drama with Madam X and the cancellations and would she finish the tour and all that. I just didn't have the time. Um, I went to the Astor Theatre. The Astor Theatre ran A League of Their Own at 3 p.m. on the Sunday, and the Astor Theatre is a vintage theatre. It's basically been restored. It's just like it sort of was when it opened in the 30s, and it's one of the few one-screen like vintage theatres, classic theatres, whatever you want to call it, heritage theatres that exists in Australia and in the world. And they basically screen old films and some new films like almost every night. They used to be open every night, but they've actually cut a couple of days, I guess. Yeah, but they have shown a few movies. They're showing Dick Tracy, I think, next week. They showed A League of Their Own, and it was amazing. I hadn't seen it on the big screen since I saw it a long time ago. I was really lucky. I got a day off school, and I got to go, and my mum took me all the way to somewhere because it was being shown, and I hadn't seen it since then. And I've seen it on DVD, and I love the film. I kind of forgot how much Madonna was in it. I haven't watched it in a while, and often when I'm watching movies, I'm working on my computer and the movie's on the background. I'm just watching the good bits. I don't have time to actually sit down and watch a film properly. That's why I love going to the cinema, because it's the only time I can give a film my full 100% attention. And it was just amazing. I forgot how many scenes Madonna was in and how much of a character she was, because I've always been baffled how the hell she got her name where it is, because it's Tom Hanks, Geena Davis, Madonna are the three stars of the film, and then Laurie Petty. But obviously, when you watch the film, the characters, the stars, are Geena Davis and Laurie Petty, the two sisters, and Tom Hanks comes in third just because he's the coach and he's sort of involved in everyone's business. And all the other characters are really just an ensemble of supporting characters, and Madonna's just one of them. She's sort of part of the duo of her and Rosie. And somehow she managed to get, I mean, this is how it works in Hollywood with casting directors and celebrities and who's a star at the moment, and that her name is above Laurie Petty's. But her character is in the film. Like, she has a lot of little scenes I forgot about, just little moments. And part of it, I was watching it, I'm like, this feels kind of forced. It's like, well, we have to use Madonna, so I don't know. It didn't seem as organic as I remember it being when I first watched it. Because obviously I went to see the film because of Madonna. Like I said, I got the day off school. My mum drove me all the way to Whoop Whoop because it was a screening somewhere. And it was great then. I loved it then. It is a great film. Even if Madonna wasn't in it, I'm not sure when I would have seen it, because nothing would have attracted me to a baseball film. But I would have loved it anyway, even if she wasn't in it, because it's just such a great film. It's based on the PBL, the All American Girls Professional Baseball League, which ran from, I think, 1943 to 1954. During the war, they were basically looking at shutting down baseball because all the men were being sent off, and they basically set up a female baseball league, and it did really well. It ran for 11 years, and this is basically about how that starts off. The film is set in actually 1988, which is kind of interesting. I never really thought about that, where the women were inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the main character goes there and meets up with her sister that she I guess hasn't seen for a while, because they had a very competitive nature. And you see them go through the film. The Geena Davis character is the older sister. She gets the younger sister in to for the baseball league, but then she leaves after the first year when her husband comes back from the war. But yet her sister Kit, played by Laurie Petty, stays in the league because she doesn't want the simple life, the living on the farm. Geena leaves, obviously, to have a baby and, do all the married stuff married people do when her husband comes back from the war, because obviously that was very important to her. She thought that she thought she may never see him again. So that's basically their story. This competitive. There is, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but Madonna was better in it than I remember. Like I said, she had more scenes, and she was in a lot of little scenes, and they always would just go to her and Rosie over anyone else, other than, of course, the main characters. So, and Madonna looks great, she performs great. That, my God, the scene in the Suds Bucket, where which is some club in the middle of nowhere that they stop at, where Madonna's dancing, the 50s dances with all these guys, it's just amazing. I mean, I watched that so many times on video when I was just at home and there was no one there, and I just turned the volume up on full for that scene, and I just always loved it. And it's so great seeing these films on the big screen, not only because I am able to give them my full attention, which I cannot do at home because I'm too ADD. I'm doing 5 things at once. When in the cinema, it's just 100%. I sit in the front row and just let the screen fill my whole vision, and I'm just there. So it's great. And the print was great. It looked like it had been shot yesterday. I mean, the film was made in 1992. It was released in July. I did a little bit of research. It made 13.3 million in its opening weekend, and actually made another 11 million, only dropping 15% the second week, which is really good. It made 107.5 all up, and then 24.9 internationally, which I'm a bit surprised at. Well, now I think about it, it's an American baseball film. Of course, it wouldn't appeal too much to the rest of the world, but it did fairly well internationally. So it made a total of 132.4 million back in the day, back when $100 million for a film was, a hit. It was made on a $40 million budget, because it looks it too. I mean, $40 million was a lot for a film in 1991, 1992. And I found it interestingly, I didn't realise this, they did a TV series based on it the next year. April 1993 it premiered. It didn't do too well. They only screened 6 episodes. I don't know how many they made. I think John Lovitz was the only character that reprised his role. And I guess it was just about the next season of, because they had 11 seasons. So I guess the first season of the show was the next season of the league after the film, because you basically see the whole first year, and of course you get to the end, and I won't ruin who wins and what happens and all the drama. It's a very emotional film. I mean, my God, I pretty much cried when Marla, we see Marla, and she's this very unattractive, tomboyish girl who's great at baseball. She's obviously great at baseball. Sorry, my camera died. And they don't want to take her. The guy who's going around, the scout, doesn't want her because she's not pretty. And the girls are like, fuck this. They put down their cases and they take her. And you just, I don't know, you have to see the film. I'm sure most of you have. If you're watching this, you're a Madonna fan. And it's just the idea that she wouldn't get to play because of her looks, and she's just so sheltered and shy and quiet. I just really loved that character. Unfortunately, she leaves fairly early in the film. I won't ruin that either in case you haven't seen the film. But as I always get just, I don't know, emotional when I watch this film. And I mean, scenes like when one of the women gets a telegram because her husband has been killed, things like that are just really emotional, and it's just such a great film. I don't know what more I can say without actually going into specifics of the story, because I doubt anyone's watching this who hasn't already seen it, but just in case you haven't, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to have to put a spoilers thing on there anyway. I mean, it's a 28-year-old movie. I shouldn't have to put a spoiler thing on it, but this is more a review of its screening at the Astor, and the Astor is a great theatre. Like I said, the print was great. The audio was great. I sat in the front, of course, like I always do. Annoyingly, I had a person sitting next to me. Normally the front row is empty and I get it to myself, and I feel like the films are just being screened for me. But there are a couple of fans in the front row as well, and I wasn't sitting exactly in the centre seat. I was like 2 off. He was like on one side, I was on the next side, and the centre seat was wasted in between us. Just trying to think, what were the other great scenes? I'm not going to go into it much because there's no way to talk about any of the specifics without going into the plot. And just on the odd case, someone who's watching this hasn't seen it, I'm not going to ruin anything. But it was just great seeing Madonna on the big screen again. Great seeing the film again, in just the quality, because you kind of forget watching on a TV sometimes. You know, you really need to see the film on the big screen to really appreciate the scope and the detail and the gravitas. It just puts it on a different level. Films should be seen on the big screen, not on your phone, not on even a small TV. Now, TVs are getting really good with the large widescreen high definition. You know, it is getting more like a real home theatre, because projectors were never really sharp. I never felt they were really good quality wise. If you get the chance to see it on the big screen, see it. It's a really great film. Madonna's great in it, and they're doing Dick Tracy next week or the week after, and DJ Ray Isaac is doing Blonde Ambition and Confessions, and I think he's going to do Body of Evidence. I'm certainly going to suggest he do it. I'm sure he mentioned doing it. He tried to screen Shanghai Surprise a few years ago, and no one bought tickets. It didn't happen. I'm not surprised. It sucks. It's the only Madonna film I can't watch. The only good thing about that film is her hair. That's it. But that's not enough to carry a film. Okay, I'm done. I've said everything I can think of. Please feel free to share, like, comment, and I apologize for my voice. It is after 3 a.m. This is when I usually end up doing my videos, in the late a.m., 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. That's why I sound like shit and look like shit, because it's just the only time I get to do this stuff, because I love talking about these films. I love talking about Madonna. I love talking about Star Trek. That's why I have a YouTube channel, because I just like talking about things, and none of my friends like Madonna or Star Trek, so I don't get to talk to anyone about it. So I instead make videos, and I get to talk to people in the comments, and people contact me through my Facebook and that, and you know, chat and that. So it's fun, and I just don't know what else to say other than I'm just so glad I got to see it again on the big screen. And I want to see all Madonna's films on the big screen. I've only seen a couple of them on the big screen because I was too young to see them when they first came out, and a few were screened later on that I managed to see, but not all of them, like Body of Evidence. So I'm excited at the idea of eventually seeing them all, and I'm just going to go. Thanks. Bye.